So now we've got two trailers for Spider-Man Homecoming, and it seems like with the second one we've seen pretty much the structure of the whole film. We start off with Spider-Man swinging around town while also fighting some crime. He wants to prove that he can be an Avenger to Tony Stark, decides to go after some slightly bigger criminals further away. Vulture shows up, it doesn't go so well for Spidey, and Tony Stark takes away his suit. So now Peter is going to go out there and prove he can take down the Vulture wearing his old clothes he used to wear before he was besties with Iron Man and had a dope suit. The end. For me, the trailers haven't been amazing, they've been fine, but I'm still looking forward to this film and I'm not sure what way it's going to go at the minute, but because I want to focus on the positives and not the negatives, and it releases on the 7th of the 7th, 2017, here's 7 reasons Spider-Man Homecoming might not suck. There's no origin story, by the looks of the trailers at least, which as we discussed shows everything. There doesn't seem to be any origin story, and that's great. One of my biggest worries about the Spider-Man movies being rebooted yet again was that we'd get another origin story, but we don't need it. Everyone knows how Spider-Man got his powers. I'm sure even my guinea pigs know how Spider-Man got his powers.
Hey guinea pig, how did Spider-Man get his powers?
Bitten by a radioactive spider.
So with this taking place post-Civil War, we know what he can do, and we don't need to find out where exactly the radioactive spider bit him or how he found out he had the powers over the course of 2 acts, but I'm sure there'll still be something in there. Maybe we'll get some sort of flashback scene, or maybe he'll just explain in a couple of sentences to Tony Stark, or more likely to his friend in the bedroom scene after he's destroyed the Death Star, which brings me to reason number 2, this film might not suck. Peter Parker has friends now, and not one that's a psychopath. He actually seems like a normal kid in high school who's not walking around perving on the hottest girl in school. Now he's doing it with his friend. But with the title being Homecoming, I imagine the high school stuff will play an important role in this film, probably ending with a homecoming dance that Spider-Man runs out of halfway through to go fight some crime, so it's important that it feels normal and not weird. I want it's clear here he's not the most popular kid in school. It was very strange in the other films that you had this kid that was very smart and funny, and he just walks around on his own all the time. Here it seems to make a lot more sense, and the friendship kind of gave me Kick-Ass vibes, which I'm really digging. Spider-Man is back alongside his Marvel friends. He's part of the MCU now, and it's cool seeing it. It's cool seeing the Avengers Tower in the poster. It's cool seeing Peter Parker watching Civil War in the classroom, but I'm still not sure who exactly filmed this, and having Iron Man in this film is cool, and I like how they seem to be using him. This kind of goes back to the no origin story stuff, but Uncle Ben is not around, and it seems kind of like Tony Stark is filling in that role. Not only is Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man easily the most unanimously loved Avenger, he's the only one around. Cap's team are essentially fugitives, Thor and Hulk are off doing God knows what, and Doctor Strange has got bigger fish to fry. I hope they don't use Iron Man too much, like maybe 10 minutes total screen time and a good post-credit scene will do, but can you imagine how weird it would be having this Spider-Man that we know is part of the MCU having no other heroes in his own film? Especially with the damage Vulture seems to be putting in right in front of the Avengers Tower, it makes sense in the story and it makes sense for Sony too. And while we're speaking of Robert Downey Jr., Homecoming has got a great cast. It seems to be doing a great job of mixing in some fresh younger faces with some big names, and we probably haven't even seen the whole cast yet, but Tom Holland already seems to be a great fit for Spider-Man, and his friend seems funny too, and I think this cast can add a lot of humour, which is something the Marvel films do a lot better than the dark and serious DC films, because according to IMDb we've got Hannibal Buress, Martin Starr, and also Donald Glover in an unnamed role, and I'll also be happy if 90% of his screen time is just Tony Stark making jokes about how hot Marissa Tomei is as Aunt May. And then on the other side of things, let's not forget about Michael Keaton as the Vulture. It's like the perfect arc for him, from Batman to Birdman to the villain in a Spider-Man film, who is also kind of a Birdman. It's a great choice for a bad guy, and I feel like no matter what happens when it gets released, all the reviews are going to say Tom Holland was great as Spider-Man, Michael Keaton was great as a bad guy, and that's already a pretty good start for this film. This film seems to be keeping it small. If there's one thing that guarantees to ruin a superhero film, it's getting too many bad guys in there. It happened twice with Spider-Man before, it's happened with X-Men 3, but thankfully Homecoming seems to know to keep it tight. It's not some globe-trotting adventure, let's save that for the Avengers, and the villains are being kept to a minimum, with Vulture being the main big final boss guy, and the Shocker kind of seeming like a henchman or a sub-boss before Spider-Man gets to the Vulture. And I like this. Some of the most solid standalone Marvel properties have been smaller stories like Ant-Man that just deal with one self-contained story that gets wrapped up in a single film, and then the next film can deal with something else, not introducing a villain 5 minutes before the end. I also think this film's got a really great theme. One scene we didn't really need in the trailer was Tony Stark taking the suit away. It makes it very clear which scenes with Spider-Man in take place at the end of the film, which take place at the start of the film, but it sets up the themes that I think are really smart. The idea of, is it the suit and the powers that make you a superhero, or is it the character of the person with those powers? I like that a lot, and having Spider-Man go up against a villain like the Vulture makes a lot of sense here too. He has a line where he says,
"The rich and the powerful, like Stark, they don't care about us."
And that makes me wonder, did he want to be an Avenger, maybe like Falcon? And does he feel like he's a better version of Falcon than the guy that actually is Falcon, and he can't be an Avenger, so he's turned to crime instead? And he clearly has a weak character, so is Spider-Man going to overcome him without his special suit, and it's all about the person, because the Vulture only really has his suit? I'm not really sure how it's going to pan out, but these are just some of the thoughts I had after watching. These are 7 reasons I think Spider-Man Homecoming...
You only did 6, you idiot!
Oh, I only did 6. Well, number 7, the suit is cool. He presses a button and it goes really tight. That's awesome. Let me know what your thoughts are of these trailers. Do you think Spider-Man Homecoming is going to be good, or do you think it's going to suck? Is it going to be kind of somewhere in the middle? And as always, thank you very much for watching, and subscribe for more.